In 1972, Hurricane Agnes tore through Pennsylvania, leaving thousands homeless. Among them were Jack and Janet Smurl. Desperate for a fresh start, they found a duplex on Chase Street in West Pittston. It was a fixer-upper, a place where they could rebuild their lives with their 4 daughters and Jack's parents. But as they scraped away old wallpaper and applied fresh coats of paint, they had no idea they were inviting something far more destructive than any storm into their lives. For the first few years, the anomalies were easy to dismiss. A missing hammer that reappeared in a locked drawer, a strange stain on the wall that seeped through 3 layers of paint, a foul odor, like rotting meat, that vanished as quickly as it arrived. But by 1985, the quirks of the house turned into a nightmare. Jack and Janet's mother, Mary, began hearing voices. Janet would hear Mary calling her name from the other side of the duplex, only to find Mary was fast asleep. Mary heard Jack and Janet in a screaming match, yet when she checked on them, they were sitting in silence. The house wasn't just haunted, it was playing with them. The escalation was violent. The family dog was thrown against a wall by an unseen force. A heavy light fixture detached from the ceiling, striking one of the Smurl daughters. But the most terrifying claims were personal. Janet claimed she was levitated 6 feet into the air and tossed across the room. Jack reported even darker encounters, claims of being sexually assaulted by a shadowy, succubus-like entity while he sat in his own living room. The Smurls were no longer just afraid. They were under siege. In 1986, the Smurls reached out to the most famous paranormal investigators in the world, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, claimed she felt a dark, heavy presence the moment she stepped inside. Her diagnosis was chilling. The house was inhabited by 4 spirits, 3 of them human, but the 4th was a demon, a powerful entity using the others to break the family's will. The Warrens attempted to provoke the entity with prayer and religious artifacts. The response was a series of terrifying growls and physical manifestations that convinced the investigators this was one of the most dangerous cases they had ever encountered. When the Smurls went public to seek help from the church, they were met with a media firestorm. While many neighbors supported them, skeptics like Paul Kurtz accused the family of a hoax, suggesting they were looking for a book deal or a movie contract. The duplex became a tourist attraction, with crowds gathering outside, hoping to catch a glimpse of the Chase Street demon. After 3 failed exorcisms and years of torment, the Smurls finally moved out in 1987. They hoped the entity would stay behind, but some reports suggest the shadows followed them for a time before finally fading into the past. Today, the duplex on Chase Street stands as a quiet reminder of one of the most controversial and terrifying hauntings in American history. Was it a demon or a family pushed to the brink? The truth remains buried in the walls of the duplex on Chase Street. The Smurl case remains a cornerstone of paranormal research, cited by both believers and skeptics as a definitive example of how a haunting can consume a family. Some believe the demon was real, a primordial evil that found a foothold in the Smurls' grief and fear. Others point to the intense stress the family was under, displaced by a natural disaster, struggling financially, and living in a cramped duplex, as the true source of their haunting. They suggest that the phenomena were a form of collective hysteria, a psychological manifestation of their internal turmoil. But for Jack and Janet, the terror was all too real. They didn't just see shadows, they felt them. They didn't just hear voices, they were threatened by them. Whether the demon was a spiritual entity or a psychological one, the scars it left on the Smurl family were permanent. As we look back at the events on Chase Street, we are forced to confront the unknown. In a world of science and reason, the Smurl haunting stands as a chilling reminder that there are still things we cannot explain. Shadows that move on their own, voices that whisper from empty rooms, and a darkness that can turn a home into a prison. Was it a demon or a family pushed to the brink? The truth remains buried in the walls of the duplex on Chase Street, a story of faith, fear, and the thin line between our world and the next.